Rain pounded against the hospital windows like an endless drumbeat, as if the sky itself was grieving alongside the people inside. Nurse Emily Carter moved swiftly down the dim corridor, her shoes squeaking against the polished floor. Her hair was slightly damp from the storm outside, but she didn't mind. She was used to discomfort, her entire life had been full of it. Emily wasn't just a nurse, she was the sole breadwinner for her ailing mother and little brother. Every extra shift meant another bill paid, another meal on the table. That's why when she heard the faint, almost imperceptible sound of someone coughing near the emergency entrance, she didn't hesitate. She turned the corner and saw him, a man slouched against the cold wall, his clothes soaked through, his jeans torn at the knees, his hair dripping with rain. He looked like he hadn't eaten in days, his skin pale, his eyes distant. Emily's heart clenched. She knelt in front of him, her voice gentle yet firm. "Sir, can you hear me?" His eyes flickered toward her, and for a moment, she caught a glimmer of something in them, pain, but also something unreadable. "I'm fine," he muttered, though the shiver in his voice betrayed him. Emily reached for a towel from the supply cart nearby and draped it over his shoulders. "You're not fine," she said quietly. "You're freezing. Come with me." He didn't protest, but his gaze lingered on her in a way that felt strange, almost searching. She helped him up, feeling the weight of his damp clothes pulling against her arm. His hands were calloused, yet oddly refined. She guided him into an empty patient room, where she found a blanket and hot tea from the staff kitchen. Hours passed. She checked on him between her rounds, making sure he was warm, hydrated, and stable. He didn't share much about himself, except for his name, Daniel. His voice was deep, smooth, though he spoke in few words. Emily didn't press. She had learned long ago that some people carried stories too heavy to tell all at once. What she didn't know was that Daniel Sinclair wasn't who he appeared to be. Beneath the soaked rags and unshaven jaw was one of the most powerful men in the city, the CEO of Sinclair Enterprises, a man whose face regularly appeared in business magazines and television interviews. But Daniel had grown tired of the fakeness around him, tired of people treating him differently because of his wealth. He had disguised himself, wandering the city to reconnect with the reality most people lived in every day. He had been caught in the rain when weakness from skipping meals overcame him, leading him to that hospital hallway where Emily found him. Over the next few days, Emily and Daniel spoke more. He noticed how she treated every patient the same way, whether they were rich or poor, clean or filthy. Her kindness wasn't selective, it was genuine. She never asked for anything in return, never complained about her long shifts. And always carried a soft smile for those who needed it. Daniel couldn't remember the last time someone had spoken to him without an agenda, without trying to impress him for gain. There was a purity in Emily's actions that stirred something deep inside him. One evening, as her shift was ending, Emily brought him a small meal she had bought with her own money. "It's not much," she said, "but you need to eat." Daniel stared at the sandwich and soup, then at her, his chest tightening. He was a man who could buy 100 restaurants with a single phone call, yet here he was, humbled by a nurse who was willing to give from her own pocket despite having so little herself. He wanted to tell her the truth, to reveal who he really was, but something stopped him. He wasn't ready. He wanted to be sure that her kindness was truly unconditional, not a performance for a wealthy man. Then came the night that changed everything. Emily was walking home after a double shift when she noticed Daniel following her. At first, she thought he might be in trouble again, but he stopped at the edge of the street, watching her as if memorizing her silhouette in the lamplight. "Thank you," he called softly. She turned back, smiling faintly. "Just take care of yourself, Daniel." She didn't know that behind those words, she had already taken root in his heart. As the days passed, Daniel disappeared from the hospital without saying goodbye. Emily assumed he had found somewhere better to stay. She didn't know that he had returned to his other life, the life of boardrooms, luxury cars, and tailored suits. But this time, things felt different. No matter how many deals he closed, how many lavish events he attended, he couldn't stop thinking about the broke nurse who had knelt in front of a stranger in rags without hesitation. Daniel made a decision that would alter both their lives forever. He would come back. Not as the man in rags, but as the man he truly was. And when he did, he wouldn't just thank her. He would ask her to share his life. Subscribe now so you don't miss Chapter 2, where Daniel returns, and Emily's world is turned upside down in the most unexpected way.